Hello and welcome, all of you. Thank you so much for being here today. I am pleased and honored to present a very exciting edition of Carbon Experts Live, which is a series brought to you by One Click LCA. We are going to be joined by some very special guests. We know there is a lot of interest in the market and in the sustainability community around the world. And we're going to address some of the burning questions that you have today. So, as you know, SimaPro and Prey Sustainability, which are the developers of SimaPro, are now part of One Click LCA. And together, we are the leading LCA platform across all industries, including construction, manufacturing supply chains, chemicals, fast-moving consumer goods, and more. And today I am so pleased to present to you Eric Mieras. He is the Managing Director of Prey Sustainability. He is joined by Panu Pasanen, who is the CEO and founder of One Click LCA. Both of you, thank you very much for joining us here today. We can't wait to get started. But before we look to the future and look ahead, I wanted to take a moment to look back at 35 years of SimaPro, and I will pass the mic over to Eric. Over to you, Eric.
Yeah, thank you, Abigail. It's indeed a very special year for us because we're not only joining forces with One Click LCA, but it has also been 35 years since Prey and SimaPro were founded. And it has been a really remarkable journey ever since. Because what started as a very simple question about what is actually an eco product and then resulted in a couple of floppy disks for everyone that knows what a floppy disk is, brought us via the developments of some of the most widely used methodologies like eco indicator and recipe. To where we are now with a fully SaaS-based solution that allows people to scale LCA and take it to the next level. So that is really something to celebrate, and that's also what we will do later this year. But of course, we're also very happy with the fact that we now joined forces with One Click LCA, which is really the next step in our development. And we really look forward to that.
So a very exciting component of today's show is that we are devoting the second half of this hour to a live question and answer opportunity for you to directly connect with Panu and Eric. So we are committed to answering as many thoughtful questions as possible. So if you have thoughtful questions, burning questions, anything that you need to know, please start dropping your comments now in the chat section. If you drop your comments first, you're likelier to have priority in the queue, and we're committed to surfacing the most thoughtful questions. So thank you for that. And very exciting, I am now ready to pass things over to Panu and Eric, so over to you.
Great. So, yeah, with that, great to be talking with you all. So my name is Panu Pasanen, CEO and founder of One Click LCA, based in Finland. Haven't quite worked 35 years in LCA, so but a bit over 2 decades, all the same. And great to be talking today about the future of LCA and what we're going to do together with SimaPro. So Eric, over to you. Maybe you just introduce yourself and then you start.
Yes, like Abigail said, Eric Mieras, I'm the Managing Director of Prey, but now also the Chief Innovation Officer at One Click LCA, and I've been with Prey for 12 years. So not the founder, that was of course Mark Goedkoop, but took over from him 12 years ago, and happy to lead the company for the last 12 years and now lead it into the next chapter of our history. So that is really something I look forward to. And it's also something that is much needed, as the next slide shows, because you could say LCA is coming of age. It's becoming really mainstream and something that will be embedded in the daily work of a lot of people, because we see the market develop very rapidly. And that is, of course, because there's a lot of needs driven by regulation. So that's one very important thing. Shareholders are asking for it, and stakeholders as well. Customers demand it. And of course, there's also the intrinsic motivation of people throughout the company, from the CEO to people working within that company at any capacity. But that also brings us to a very urgent and exciting challenge, because in the end, if you look at how many products we have globally, then that's billions, and all of those need some sort of sustainability data. And that is a real challenge, because if you look at the number of available resources, then it's maybe 20,000 LCA practitioners globally. So we will never be able to address that need if we keep working the same way as we always did. And that's why we need a different approach, and basically make sure that we scale LCA and that we are able to deliver on the promise that we have as LCA practitioners, but also as LCA software providers and database developers. And that's what we think we can achieve together. Because by joining forces, we believe that we can have a greater and more positive impact in a faster way. So that's also one of the questions we asked ourselves as Prey, and especially also as the shareholders and the management of Prey. Is this something that we could do alone? And of course we could, but probably not fast enough. And that's why we said, let's look for a partner that can help us make this growth faster and in a more in a smarter way. And by joining forces with One Click, we think we really develop the combination of our in-depth LCA expertise with the tech expertise that One Click has. And you could also summarize that as together we make LCA go deeper and go faster. So deeper is what SimaPro can bring, and faster is what One Click LCA can bring. And then we can tackle this challenge of billions of products or millions of users, and basically to help customers scale LCA across industries. So that's why we thought we can bring this together and then serve the market better. But I hand over to Panu to dive into that.
Excellent. And obviously, we are very proud to work with this legacy of SimaPro, and looking forward to. I'm not too sure if I personally can commit to working on this 35 years more, but I will do my best to do a good chunk of it. So, of course, the big question is, what do we want to do, right? And for us, SimaPro and Pred, they are like crown jewels, right? I mean, for us, what we want to do here is we want to make the best possible, future development out of the platform that Prey has built with SimaPro. And SimaPro has actually two platforms. So there's this Craft, which is the desktop SimaPro, which is for LCA practitioners. And then there's SimaPro Synergy, which is the platform for enterprises, which can be used for automating LCAs across any sector. And obviously, we do also have One Click LCA, and we keep One Click LCA. It's definitely also one of the crown jewels. So we are also keeping One Click LCA, and we keep investing in both. But we invest in them for different use cases and for different sectors. So One Click LCA is very specifically for manufacturing and AEC sectors. So we are very deeply embedded into the processes, into the standards, into regulations, into integrated with software. So you can find a couple of different EU regulations here, and we work with a lot of certifications. Whereas then SimaPro is a cross-sectoral platform, and it is used widely in education, in different kind of disclosures, different kind of eco-design topics, and just generic LCA use cases. And there's going to be new sectoral regulations, ESPR and some others, and national regulations obviously on top of EU ones. And we are going to work on SimaPro as the core platform for supporting those. And what's the important thing here is because much of the LCA data is generally relevant for customers in all of the sectors. We are also enabling data flow between the products. So for example, if you make a component that can be ultimately used in a manufactured product that you have modeled with SimaPro, we're going to build workflows to facilitate data flows to allow customers to actually make use of their product and component data by their end users for specifying and using them in their final assembled product LCAs. Very practically, what we're going to invest in on SimaPro. So we are roughly doubling the investment on SimaPro. And how do we double it? We are investing in several different things. We are, of course, One Click LCA is a software company. We have a software company DNA. So we're going to invest in software, but come back to that in a bit. But we start with data. So we are also working really a lot with supplier data at One Click LCA, and being able to access and use supplier-specific data when you're making choices who you want to work with can be making a big difference in terms of being able to understand better what's your sustainability impact and how you can improve it. So that's one part of the equation. So connect the supplier data to SimaPro users. We also work to add more databases. So there's really a lot of different databases available in the world. Some of them are not fit for purpose in terms of quality. So those we don't overly care about, but all the qualified ones where we can that we can provide to give customers access to more relevant high quality data, we are going to look at ways to integrate them. And also data collection tools to get data from your supply chain, a very important part of the equation. Then in terms of investment into the software platform, so how we're going to do this is we're really going to try to be able to service with the SimaPro online version, particularly the business users who may not have the same level of knowledge as LCA practitioner. Eric mentioned 20,000 is often cited number in terms of how many LCA practitioners we have in the world, right? So we also need all the rest of the million people who need to be working on this topic to be able to do something. And we need to build something a bit simpler, but running on the same engine so the results quality is the same. And obviously we need to restrict how much those users can modify the models because they don't have all the competence to build the models. And they shouldn't. That's kind of not their role. The practitioners can build the models and business users can use them. We'll also build different kind of analytics and reporting tools. Those are very easily developed in a cloud environment using modern technology. And we also build things for model sharing and that kind of automations, which are important for larger companies especially. And finally, we recognize that these people who need LCA solutions today don't all come with the background knowledge to use LCA. So we really need to also put a lot of resources in supporting competence development, different kind of support programs, training programs, to make sure that the people can get to grips with how to work with LCA, how to support decision making with LCA data in an appropriate manner. And finally, obviously, PRE has a great deal of LCA practitioners and top experts for the domain. So those will be the people who will build some of the models to be used on top of the SimaPro platform. So customers don't have to, reinvent the wheel. They can just choose an appropriate model from the library. So most of the things stay the same, but we are also building a lot of future improvements. So One Click LCA stays specialized in the sectors we have. We are working mostly directly with customers at One Click LCA, where SimaPro works mostly through a partner network in many countries globally. And we work with partner network. We also work with customers directly, obviously. Price Sustainability's team is based in Netherlands. One Click LCA's team is based everywhere, not literally, but almost. We continue expanding both of the teams, and we work together also to serve customers in different time zones better where needed. And obviously, technology, AI, data, those are the things which we want to share to benefit the users across the entire market. So I believe some of the customers and prospects here might have some questions. What have we heard from the market, Eric, so far?
Yeah, we heard a couple of things, and one was about pricing. So people are curious what will happen with the prices after this getting together.
Yeah, so the pricing for the products remains obviously separated, and SimaPro has a couple of plans. So there's the expert plan, power plan, and educational plan. So obviously we stick to the principle that the education must remain as affordable as possible. And we are going to provide now for the first time multi-year price locks for customers. So customers who want to know what the software is going to cost over a longer period of time are able to buy it with a price lock. And we cannot control how much EcoInvent costs beyond certain time horizon. So there's no forward guarantee on that, but for the software part of the cost, we can guarantee it. And that, of course, provides a lot of assurance for customers. So you know exactly what's going to cost you. Well, let's say maybe until the end of the decade, we'll be pushing it a bit, but for several years to come. That's an important part of it because we believe that you need to know what you're getting and what you're paying. I think we also had some concerns from the market about quality. What do you think, Eric? What we're going to do about that?
Yeah, we're going to stay focused on that. So quality has always been something that is at the heart of what we do at Prey, and that will remain the same. And part of it is also the consultants that we have, because they have a lot of involvement in the development of new methodologies or building capacity with people within companies. And those are all aspects that are really important for quality. And that is definitely something that we will stay focused on and that we will continue to do. So quality is at the forefront of what we do, and it will remain at that forefront.
Yeah, One Click LCA also definitely works a lot on quality, but we work on industry data as opposed to inventory. So the control mechanisms we have on industry data are a bit different because we don't always have access to every last mile of the data. So, but we are also going to be announcing some new quality-oriented programs within a couple of months' time.
Yeah, and I think we can also learn a lot from each other there. So that's also one of the things that we expect to get out of this collaboration. Yeah.
So on the product accessibility, so that came also up maybe in connection with pricing or otherwise. But so obviously, if we have 1 million people who need to do LCA and 20,000 of them already have an LCA software, and the rest can't afford to buy one, it's not going to be very useful, from a society point of view. So we are very concerned about the accessibility of the software. And One Click LCA and Prey have somewhat different programs in terms of how we address those concerns. And One Click LCA has had maybe since 4 or 5 years, I think, our education licenses are free, right? So we cannot sponsor databases because databases we have to pay for. So you can get it with the core data that we can supply, which is not requiring a license payment. And anybody in the world, if you are in an educational institute and you want to use it for teaching, you just request for a license and off you go, right? We do, of course, have reduced prices for research purposes. SimaPro has the same, and SimaPro is also having for the least developed countries, there's a possibility to get a completely free license, mainly enabled by the fact that we don't have to pay for eco-invent either. And we continue to offer multiple license tiers, including multiple paid license tiers. Obviously, the free products don't have all the capabilities. We wouldn't be able to operate as a business, and we also don't want to be collecting taxpayers' money for serving this. So those are the top 3 questions. Something to add on this, Eric? You're muted.
Not right now, but I'm curious what questions will pop up in the chat so we can address them later.
Okay. So together, we are the world's largest LCA platform. We actually were also already before the merger. We are targeting to serve 1 million makers of a zero carbon future by 2035. We serve really many of the largest companies in our space, including in consultancies, architecture, construction, manufacturing, consumer goods, engineering, and chemicals. And we have 2 product families, but across the platform, we support over 140 different standards, regulations, characterization methods, compliance standards, whatnot. We serve over 5,000 commercial customers. We have over 500,000 LCA datasets available in the platform, and the platform is used in over 170 countries. And obviously, being able to invest in product development is what makes it possible to scale to more and more people. Together, we are able to also invest more, and some of that investment is shared, so we can make use of the capabilities we build across the group. We retain our specializations, and we are very proud to serve some of the leading companies in different segments. So on the left-hand side, we have the segments One Click LCA is deep into, so construction products, construction and design. In the middle, we have some of the sectors where we both work with SimaPro, and also MEP, electronic consulting and services. And then on the right-hand side, we have the sectors where SimaPro really is the market leader. So chemicals, engineering, consumer, agri-food. So we are able to cover all of the market in need of LCA software. Besides doing LCA software, on One Click LCA side, we also integrate really a lot of data, analytical capabilities, and tools for data delivery for our customers. So that allows to actually do more with what you produce. So you are able to also get more commercial value out of that. And then back to you, Eric.
Yeah, so last year we introduced a new product, SimaPro Synergy, which really aims to make LCA easy and scalable across sectors, because that is something that we will remain doing. In SimaPro, you can basically build and maintain your models for your products, for your product category, or even for an entire sector. But as you can see, that looks in SimaPro Synergy much more modern and is easier to use. It's also SaaS-based, so online, which is also a big difference, of course, from the desktop software that we have with SimaPro Craft. But this is really what we want to further develop and bring to the next level. And we think there's a lot of opportunities now that we are together with One Click LCA to do that and further accelerate the rollout of these products. And that also brings us to the next slide, where we focus basically on 4 things. That's user-friendliness, scalability, extra capabilities, and robustness. So that is what we aim for going forward. And user-friendliness, of course, means ease of use and efficiency, because in the end, we know that our users want to use software that is efficient to use and that they can start with in an intuitive way. So that is something that we will definitely do. And of course, it's really great that we can bring together the expertise from One Click LCA and SimaPro and Bray, because we have been both focusing on different segments in the market. So that also means different audiences with different needs. And of course, different audience also means a different user interface, from very technical to super easy to use. So that is something that we will bring forward and that we will definitely focus on. The second is scalability, and that is really about integrations and automations. Because now LCA practitioners still spend a significant amount of their time on collecting data, creating reports, but that is something that you can really automate, and by integrating software like SimaPro and One Click LCA with existing tools, you can also automate the data collection process, and then later on the reporting part of it. And that is really needed to be less dependent on those scarce resources, but also to make sure that those scarce resources can focus on what's most important, and that is providing the expert input that is needed to scale the availability of environmental footprint data. Thirdly, it's really about extra capabilities. So capabilities isn't only about software features and functionalities, and Panu already shared some of them, but it's also about more data. And that is, of course, important because in the end, that's what software like SimaPro and One Click LCA generates and are built on data. So that is an important third aspect that we will focus on. And then lastly, robustness. And that is very important because in the end, everyone needs to be sure that the results are trustworthy and correct, but also that they are compliant with a variety of standards. So that is definitely going to be a focus point, and to make sure that people can verify the data and can also look at what the underlying assumptions are. Transparency is, of course, another very important aspect that we want to bring to users. And if you add that up, then you get user. So that is definitely what we will focus on.
Excellent. Well, great summary. So I'm particularly proud of the mnemonic. So please take it away from here. That's my contribution to this plan. So back to you, Abigail.
Thank you. A bit of a slide issue, but we're good. So thank you, Panu and Eric, both very much. I thought that was very inspiring and I think quite interesting. So congratulations to you both. This is a very exciting moment for LCA practitioners and also the 1 million, potential practitioners of kind of sustainability solutions. So thank you both very much. Before we proceed with the live question and answer segment of the show, I would like to give you and the audience an opportunity to connect with a sustainability expert so that our team can reach out to you and connect with you for a discovery call to learn more about One Click LCA's or SimaPro's solutions in order to discuss your sustainability goals and learn how our solutions can power your sustainability strategy and also just your day-to-day workflow. So you will see a poll or a box that pops up on your screen. You can click yes for One Click LCA. You can also click yes for SimaPro. And this will enable our team to then reach out to you to schedule a discovery call. We have a team, obviously, of sustainability and LCA experts, and we're very eager to help you achieve your goals for your business and also your personal goals. So thank you very much for that. And we are going to move forward. I'm very excited to turn things over to all of you in the audience there. So we're going to engage in questions. So the first question comes to us from Susanna. And Susanna asks, what is the main advantage for one-click LCA users in terms of the integration with SimaPro? And Panu, I'll pass that to you, representing one-click LCA.
Yeah, so One Click LCA has a huge database of supplier data. Suppliers don't usually, or actually never, want to disclose all of their bill of materials because it's commercially sensitive and they are in competition with others who would like to understand their cost structure. So the LCA data One Click LCA provides is, emission factor data, so it's ready and you cannot dig into all of the details. And together with SimaPro, what we enable is that if you have a core component you need to understand or a core supplier you really need to understand, you can do an assessment of that using full inventories and you can see what it includes exactly, and you can model it to reflect your exact supply chain so you can understand everything that goes on in there. And if you have identified, for example, a way to improve that product or that component or that material, you're going to be able to bring it back. So you're going to be able to go deep into your supply chain and bring more detailed data back. And that's obviously not possible without some supplier cooperating with you to provide you some input, or you then making the relevant assumptions with supplier. But it's the deeper transparency and ability to get more granular data worked out from the supply chain. That's kind of the biggest advantage, in addition to being able to cover other sectors, which we don't cover all the sectors in the world with One Click LCA.
Thank you very much, Panu. Next up, we have a question from Lars. And Lars asks, what is your vision on the development of this collaboration? What is the biggest opportunity that you see?
Yeah, let me answer that, Abigail, because the biggest opportunity that I see is that One Click LCA and SimaPro are sometimes seen as two ends that are not really connected. But it's not only that that is the case for SimaPro and One Click LCA. I think that's a general distinction in the market that is often made, where one part says, well, maybe tools that are aimed at business users are not transparent enough or don't have the right quality, and the other way around. People complain about SimaPro that it is making things too complex and too cumbersome. And I think our opportunity here is to bring those worlds together and make sure that both types of users are served, but then in a connected way. And that's really what we can do together. And that's also what I said before about combining the in-depth knowledge that we have as Prey and SimaPro with the tech expertise and tech focus that One Click LCA has. So that's a big challenge. It's probably not easy to solve, but we really are determined to fix that challenge.
Yeah, and if I may piggyback on that, so much of the background inventory data is really old. It's coming from science, and some of the inventories, they are quite old. And by combining these supplier data sets also has a big advantage for Prey, because you still want to make a choice on who you work with, which supplier you work with when you make procurement or engineering decisions. And by combining these both ways is a big benefit. And it also relates to way compliance works. So with full inventories, you can work with full transparency, so you can just daylight all of your inventories and you can check literally everything. Whereas in business applications like One Click LCA, we get a third party to do verification of that the product complies with the standard it says, right? So we do maybe 20 different third-party audits on the software in a year. So we are able to bring this rigor also into the supply chain that works with SimaPro.
Thank you, Panu. Our next question comes from Dr. Anthony Matteri. And he asks, can we expect SimaPro in the cloud technology besides the remote desktop? Eric.
Yes, it actually is already in the cloud with SimaPro Synergy that I just showed. And we continue to develop that. And we plan to have a version for more business-oriented users in the course of next year. So that's definitely something that we're working on and that we plan to introduce in the coming months. So yeah.
Thank you, Eric. We have also received a number of questions from you related to resellers and who to contact about licensing topics. Do people contact resellers or do they contact One Click LCA?
So anybody who works with SimaPro reseller today, contact and continue working with your SimaPro reseller. If you work with One Click LCA reseller today, continue working with them. If you work with one of the companies directly, continue working with them. If you're confused about all of this, then you can just reach out to SimaPro or One Click LCA. We'll find always the right contact for you.
That sounds very clear and simple, in fact. So that's a very clarifying answer. Thank you. Next up, so what does this merger mean for the users of both pieces of software, especially since we use both for educational and business purposes, and we're paying for both? This is a question from Ivana.
I think the biggest synergy comes here is that if you're using it with the same users and if you're paying for equipment license, the license can be used by the same user on both platforms if it's the inventory-based license. So that maybe is the biggest immediate gain. But over time, we are going to be able to also share data libraries between the platforms. So if you have some supplier data libraries, we are able to share them across platforms. I think those are the immediate term gains. And going forward, we are also able to sell you all the products on the same contract. So you don't have to do as much paperwork. Maybe if you're the same user, it doesn't make much difference for you, but in a large company, it makes a big difference.
Okay. The next question is quite interesting. How do you see the integration of AI?
Yeah, maybe I can answer that first, and then I'll let Panu follow up. Because for me, the integration of AI is also a very good example of why we decided to join forces. Because if you look at the developments in technology with AI, data science, and so on, those go faster and faster. And that's why we realized that we basically needed a bigger pool of resources to have a bigger pool of resources available to work on these topics, because we have a lot of ideas, but ideas in the end don't get you anywhere if you're not able to deliver them to users. And that's also what we definitely will get from the collaboration with One Click LCA. And that's where I want to hand over to Panu.
Yeah, so at One Click LCA, we have maybe half a dozen, a bit more, production AI applications, which are supporting you in checking your quality, generating alternative designs, that kind of basic use case, matching data. And obviously, we'll be looking at how can we enable their use also in the SimaPro world. And then there's a couple of ones which we want to build from the scratch to be supporting both of the platforms. So it's a lot of different applications as opposed to single one, because we need to make all the parts of the process as efficient as possible, not just to have a one AI button in a software. People need to be able to do everything in the best possible manner.
A lot of questions, more coming up. So Clarice asks, I work in R&D and I worry the new versions of SimaPro will not be flexible enough for our R&D studies, particularly prospective ones. How would you reply to that?
Yeah, so we clearly identify what are different types of users that we have as SimaPro. And we know, of course, that a lot of people use it for R&D, and that flexibility is important. So we will keep supporting that, especially with SimaPro Craft. But if you want to scale LCA, then you also need to accept less flexibility, because otherwise it becomes really hard to scale. And that's where we target another group of users that want to scale. But yeah, that will be reflected in the different types of solutions that we will have. But we will definitely keep servicing the R&D people that use SimaPro, and we're really well aware of how they do that, and that flexibility is important.
Thank you very much, Eric. Next up, Antonio asks, SimaPro Craft and SimaPro Synergy is used by several LCA tools. These tools may be seen as potential competitors to One Click LCA. What assurances can One Click LCA offer these other LCA solutions that SimaPro will continue to be available?
Yeah, it's a good question. And we recognize there's a need for quite many software to solve all these problems. And we continue working on every single tool that we have started to ship. And there's many very specialized, some of them are concrete tools, others are, textile, food, you name it. So we continue providing and serving specialist tools. Obviously, the real life constraint comes more often from database. So we don't, neither of us own the database that's typically used in this kind of connection, and the database licensing terms have to be observed. So the right to use the underlying LCA data has to be ensured. So that's a thing to ensure for all tool developers, irrespective if they work with SimaPro or not, by the way.
Sylvie asks, will one-click LCA published EPDs be integrated into and accessible in SimaPro as complementary data to the usual databases like EcoInvent and others as system background data sets? Excellent question.
So we are currently, one-click LCA database is very large. So we are currently looking at finding a way to pull in the data set that you actually are interested in. So maybe using favorites or other type of approach where you select the data that you want to pull into SimaPro. The entire data set could be a bit overwhelming because some of it is very specialized in construction sector. And then if you don't work in that sector, you might not get much value out of it. But yeah, indeed, that's the intent. And that would be managed through a common login where you can then select which data you want to see.
Next question. So the question is from Claude. What will be the impact of this merger on users of the software tools? Will the two software eventually merge into one, or should we expect changes in subscriptions?
Eric, you take this?
Yes, I can do that. But the plan is to keep the software now as two separate products, because we know that different types of users are working with them. But of course, we want to make it easier to exchange and work with data. So related to the previous question, and to also add functionalities that are useful for business users, but also for experts like reporting. That is what we aim for. But the main thing is that the core goal that, or the core functionality that people need for their specific job, that needs to remain. And that is, of course, different for LCA practitioners than for more business-oriented users. Anything to add to that, Panu?
No, I think we keep them separate. Yeah. Separate as products, and we use underlying technology in common. So just to make sure that there's no confusion between these 2 points.
This is a related question, and perhaps you can elaborate. So Sonke asks, you simultaneously talk about integrating features of One Click LCA and SimaPro into each other, and about strictly keeping them as two separate solutions. I fail to understand how this merger will affect my work with SimaPro Craft as a practitioner. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I can take that. So if you use SimaPro Craft, you can keep using it as you use it today, really. So, but what's going to be available is that we're going to be allowing you to synchronize more data from the cloud, from the One Click LCA platform. We are also going to be enabling you new report generation tools on the cloud, and we are enabling new kinds of analytics tools, and that will also be cloud-based. And so we are adding capabilities which are shared capabilities, which will be cloud-based. You don't have to use them, right? So you don't need to run the analytics, or you didn't need to run the reporting. But by doing that, we are able to give you much more features faster, and you're going to be able to have a more faster evolving product because desktop applications don't get updated as often.
Next question is from Zunka. As a SimaPro user, if I want to dig deeper into LCI data from suppliers available in One Click LCA, I assume that I will also need a One Click LCA license for that?
I just need to be sure that it is not misunderstood. So suppliers don't typically disclose their inventories to the public. And in this case, this would be the public, because then all their competitors would see exactly how much raw materials they use, how much energy they use, and that affects their cost competition, because then you know exactly how much it costs to produce this material for this company, so you know how to bid against them. So suppliers usually provide the data either in aggregated inventories or as emission factors, so you wouldn't be able to go to the same level as for these research-based inventories, regrettably. So you need to open an industry average data set and start from that kind of basis in SimaPro.
Yeah, next to that, but that was already a previously answered question. The ambition is to make supplier data in aggregated form available in SimaPro as well. But of course, that's not inventory level data.
All right, and another question comes from Martina. What do you mean when you say that in One Click LCA, you can use suppliers' data? How do you collect that data?
So One Click LCA works with industrial companies, we work with databases, we work with everything. So we integrate over 10,000 market data sets every month. We do that by working directly with the very largest companies. So we just announced some time ago, we added over 50,000 data sets from Schneider Electric for product-specific data sets. And we also work with databases which aggregate smaller data sets. And also, there's of course a lot of customers who produce data on One Click LCA, which then they want to make available for others to use so that they can specify their products.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, it's a great honor, I know, for all of us in the audience today and for myself to connect with both of you. And I am actually very excited to share some important news with all of you about some exciting free live online learning opportunities that you have with One Click LCA, SimaPro, and Pray. So the first coming up is our free lifecycle assessment and environmental product declaration boot camps. These are taking place in November. They'll be online. There'll be 2 hours of training a day for 1 week at a time. And after going through the training and taking a test, you will actually get a certification from One Click LCA. This is a widely recognized certification. We've actually been hearing from literally some of the biggest companies in the world recently that they put applicants for jobs in priority queue if they see that they have a One Click LCA certificate on their CV or their LinkedIn. This is a very important credential and kind of credibility building opportunity for you. I want to note this is completely free. As you can see, our moderators will drop the link in the chat. This is a great opportunity. And yeah, I hope to see some of you there in November. Next up, I wanted to let you know that on October 23rd, Pray Sustainability, which are the developers of SimaPro, will be offering a training to help you learn more about how you can leverage SimaPro in order to make biodiversity assessments. And this is particularly targeting LCA practitioners. So earlier, I think Eric and Panu mentioned there are about 20,000 kind of hardcore LCA practitioners in the world today. And this is for you. So our moderators will drop this event in the chat, and you can register and connect with us in that way. And finally, I would like to let you know about an exciting live product launch that we have coming up. It's actually coming up in 14 days, and all of us are so excited about this. Built for carbon compliance, powered by AI. So you all know that 2026 is going to be a big year if you're thinking about CPR, if you're thinking about EPBD, if you're thinking about CBAM. We also have new versions of, LEAD v5 or BREEAM v7. So there are a lot of changes happening in the sustainability space right now, and we have tools that can help you succeed, which are powered by AI. Our moderators are going to drop a link in the chat so you can register today. We have a huge group of people already signed up, and you don't want to miss out. You'll be the first to access some of these new tools, so please register today. And with that, I am going to say that's a wrap, but not before I thank Panu and Eric and give them a moment to say goodbye to all of you.
Well, thanks everybody. Looking forward to the next 35 years.
Thank you everyone for listening in, and also for the very good questions. And don't hesitate to reach out if you have more questions. Happy to answer them.
Great.
Thank you all. It's been a pleasure to have you today. Connect with us again. We are here for you. We're always here for you, no matter the changing regulatory changes or anything. We're always here for you just for consultation. So connect with us. We want to be a resource for all of you out there, and keep up the good work. We're so proud of all of you out there. You're doing amazing work, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.